Not much in there.
Nope.
Nope.
Great. All right, we will call this September 2nd meeting of the Development Review Board to order. And I'll start with an introduction of the board members, starting with Kevin.
Kevin O'Connell, board member.
Meredith Crandall, staff.
I'm Rob Goodwin, the chair.
Alex Halas, board member.
Online we have Joe.
Joe Kiernan, board member.
And Catherine.
Catherine Burgess, board member.
Brian.
Brian Jones, board member.
Thank you, everybody. All right, we'll do our brief remote meeting procedures, but
Yeah.
feel free to skim.
Yes, for sure. All right, give me just, oh, why is it weird?
No, I gotta find a way to get to that Zoom.
All right. So, for anyone viewing tonight's meeting via Orca Media, you can participate in tonight's Development Review Board meeting via the Zoom platform through either video or telephone access options. If you want the full video experience, you can type this link into your web browser. Alternatively, you can dial this phone number and when prompted, put in this meeting ID. Either way, I will get a notification that you want to come into the meeting and let you in. If anyone is having problems accessing the meeting, please email me at mcrandall@montpelier-vt.org. I will be monitoring my email throughout the meeting. Everybody here knows. So if you get on remotely via Zoom, know that turning your video on is optional. And we do ask that people keep their microphones on mute when they're not speaking to help reduce background noise. In the event the public is unable, actually, honestly, because we have no public hearings tonight, because we have no applications, if the public can't attend, then that would be unfortunate, but there's nothing here that requires that they actually get in tonight. So with no public hearings, I would probably just send people copies of the meeting minutes. All right. I hope that everybody, let's see. Yeah, we've got everybody and just board members on right now. So I'll hand the meeting back over to the chair.
All righty, can we get a agenda approved?
I so moved.
I'll second.
Got a motion by Kevin, second by Alex. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We have an
Aye.
agenda. So thank you for everyone being here. I think we are actually have 100% attendance tonight because the board is now 6 members with 2 alternate seats open. Is that where we're at?
3 seats open total.
3,
1 regular, 2 alternate.
1 regular, 2 alternate.
What
are
we
open.
have now are people we've had all year.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yep.
Yep.
I would make a PSA to say people should apply, but I don't think anyone is listening. So
No,
save some time.
Nope. I had a comment. I know someone in Worcester who watches fairly religiously both the design review and the development review board meetings over at Orca Media. So there are people watching.
People watching. Always.
Yes.
Always.
Tell them that's why.
Well, thank you for your dedication to interest in public service. All right. So yeah, we have election of officers and then a brief presentation for Meredith tonight. I think we'll try to keep this meeting relatively short, maybe an hour, a little over, because folks have kids to go to and to get home and do everything like that. No need to waste energy on with no applications. But I thought it was good to have this presentation.
Yeah.
We have tried to do it like about once a year. But I guess without further ado, I will move on to the annual elections. And we will do the vice chair first. Then I will turn it over to the newly elected vice chair. We will hold elections for the chair. Does everyone agree with that process?
Fine with me.
Move this?
Yep.
Okay. Do we have any nominations or volunteers for the vice chair position?
I will nominate Kevin if he will accept.
I was going to nominate Catherine.
I will. Okay with me. Catherine, what do you think?
I appreciate the nomination, but my attendance has been spottier than usual over the last couple months. Meredith may have noticed that. So I'm concerned I might not have the time to be as reliable as a vice chair needs to be right now.
Catherine, let me throw out a alternative scenario here. If you're vice chair and you have to miss a meeting, you know, we have the ability to have a one-time, or what do we call it?
It's an acting chair.
Acting
yeah.
chair.
We added that so that if for some reason neither the vice chair nor the chair can either be there or have to recuse themselves, because we've had that happen before,
Yep.
the board can elect an acting chair for a particular hearing, and that person stays the chair for that application, you know, for the meeting as a whole, but also can stick with that application moving forward. So it's, I think it's also just feeling comfortable to be the potential backup if needed. We can also revisit the vice chair position as new members come on. So that's for everybody to know.
So is what you just said, because you said the chair every time, is it
Yeah.
also applicable to the vice chair?
Well, because if your chair's at the meeting, then the vice chair doesn't take on that role unless the chair has to recuse themselves. They just call it the acting chair, because if neither the chair nor the vice chair can be there, you just are electing an acting chair.
Well,
Does that make sense?
So as long as the chair is present, this is all gonna be
Yeah.
on you, Rob.
Yep.
Well, the chair
Yeah.
really does, this is Kevin, the chair really does have a responsibility to,
Show up.
yeah, I mean, there's just more of a pressure that's inherent with being the chair.
Yeah.
Being the vice chair is less than that, but it's not completely, you know, you're not completely off the hook.
Well.
So what do you think, Catherine?
Well, I'll say that first, I want to thank you for the nomination. I appreciate the words of support, and I also appreciate your service and everyone's service. I'd be happy to accept the nomination with the understanding that, yeah, that my schedule's gotten a bit more chaotic. I moved into a different role at work, and my husband's traveling more, so yeah, not that everyone needs all my personal information, but that's why that's why I was initially hesitant, but I'd love to do it in terms of supporting the board and also supporting Rob, who I know is a great chair. So
thank
That's
you.
excellent.
I appreciate that, Catherine. And yeah, I think you know, obviously we're down 2 seats too, so everyone's getting a pinch here, 3 seats. So you know, the role of vice chair and chair, you know, it's like usually we're just a little bit of coordination that if Meredith's not able to, just figure out, like, you know, if we can mobilize the alternates to get here to fill. We know there's going to be a vacancy, but we don't even have that luxury now. So I think really in some cases the onus is on city council to appoint and figure out how to, you know, get us a full board here, so that you know, pressure is not on everybody here, and things come up in people's lives too. So it's not like the you know, the folks we have on this board are going to be here forever either. So that's all important to have, you know, maybe why the regulations spell out that there's alternates and only
Yeah.
4 votes for approval, but you know, several members extra. So I hear acceptance from Catherine with the acknowledgement that, yeah, we do have the provision of the you know, sort of a temporary vice chair situation in the rare event that both chair and vice chair are not there, and we have some volunteers to fill that role if needed. So no pressure, Catherine. I guess we'll move into if there's any discussion on we need a second.
Yeah, you need a second because it's a
Second. Yeah.
yeah, I think you need a second because technically it's a motion,
All right.
a nomination that's both a nomination and a motion.
Chair would gladly accept the nomination of Catherine.
I'll second, or I'll nominate.
But
And I'll second.
okay.
All right. Yep.
We're flexible.
Okay. So is there any I guess discussion before we move into a vote on Catherine as vice chair for the next term of the DRB?
In as much as thank you, Catherine, on behalf of myself and the board, very happy that you're going to step up.
Okay, we'll just do a I guess we can do all those in favor. Say aye.
Aye.
All right. Catherine is unanimous for vice chair for the next year till elections in August, unless revisited by the board before then. So congratulations, Catherine. At this time, I'm going to briefly turn the meeting over to our new vice chair, Catherine Burgess, to take up the election of the chair position for the next term.
Thanks. Well, with that, I'd be happy to nominate Rob. I want to thank you, Rob, for your service as a chair and your deep knowledge of the regs. I think is really an asset for the whole group. Do we have any other nominations?
I will second the nomination for Rob.
Okay, thank you, Kevin. Any other nominations or commentary?
Well, I gladly accept the nomination. Thank you, Catherine. Yeah, I'm happy to do it for another year, and I look forward to bringing new folks onto the board, and hopefully staying on the board a while longer, and handing it off to another chair to help along the way for another few years. So worked well with Sharon, and hopefully we can do the same a year from now.
Great. Well, with that, shall we move to a vote?
Yes.
Sounds good.
Great. Would all in favor say aye?
Aye.
Aye. I think that was unanimous for Rob Goodwin as chair. Congratulations, Rob.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Catherine. I
Sure.
will gladly accept my my duties.
My burden.
Okay, Rob Goodwin, no longer acting chair, chair for the next year of the DRB, back here. And now we got that charade of Robert's rule over. We can maybe move to a little more informal, discussion and presentation on the zoning regs. And Meredith has a sort of brief presentation to do, and then we can just sort of open it up to discussion and questions.
All right. So, what I included in your packet was the red line of the changes that were approved in July. So it didn't, the in yellow at the bottom and the footer effective date was the old effective dates of the regulations from changes that were made in 2024. But I just, this red line we put together to be able to show people what actually changed word for word in July. If you guys want me to, I can share afterwards the little sort of PowerPoint I wrote up, but it ended up being very, very text heavy and not really fun. So I'm using that more sort of my cheat sheet for this meeting. And what I'm really going to focus on is what actually changed in July 2025 and those interim amendments, and what the next steps are in this process that the Planning Commission is going through right now to do the final adoption of those changes and other changes that they're looking at. These during this all came about, these interim regulations came about because during the process for adopting the city plan that just got adopted, there was a lot of testimony taken in the last year, which was the last year of a 7-year process, about the need to change zoning regulations to facilitate more housing development in Montpelier. They have a really aggressive goal in the city plan about the number of units they want to have. I think it's 75 per year or more than that, to add a lot of housing units in Montpelier over the next 10 years. And so the Planning Commission worked with the Planning Department to come up with some really sort of quote unquote easy short-term changes. And those are in these interim changes. But then, because those interim changes just needed to have one public hearing at city council. It's a quick process. They were able to get those through, but they really tried to do the simple things that were, you know, quote unquote, non-controversial. The next step is going to be, is that they're starting right now is a full section by section zoning review, beginning to end of the 200 plus pages of the zoning regulations, to really dig deep to see if there are other more complicated changes to make that could not reduce like the standards that apply, but reduce some of the processes. They're looking for places where the processes don't make sense, as well as taking comments from any city committees that might come to them, or departments about tweaks that might be made to the zoning regulations. And that process, they have to put these changes that were made last July through this full process as well. So they might revisit some of those changes and either go back on them or add additional things in those sections. So in brief, those July 2025 changes, they made revisions to section 3007 and 3008. So that's the very beginning of that red line, that set new minimum disturbance amounts for slopes, that trigger the steep slopes review or trigger professional erosion control plans. So not as many things are going to trigger that. They simplified the ratios, but they also adopted a new map. So I'm going to show you the old map and then the new map. Maybe. There we go. Oh, come on. I do have them open. It's just not. Here we go.
It's not feeding into.
It's not feeding into my Zoom.
Oh.
So give me 1 second. There we go. So this is the Montpelier slopes map that was adopted in 2018. It's a super, super, super high resolution map, so that things like ditches or somebody's porch, you can just come look over my shoulder if you want, Kevin. Just letting you know. Really little bitty things, like here's a little house here and the edge of the roof shows up as a steep slope. It just really wasn't workable, and it shows very tiny areas as slopes of 30% or more, which is why the board, especially early on in 2018, saw things like somebody is taking apart and putting back up a retaining wall in the same place. It was a 30% slope, right? So we basically stopped using this map in the planning department, and we went to the Agency of Natural Resources data. Their data was really general. And again, still wasn't very workable. So what we did, because we now have somebody in our office who does GIS and was able to work with us, is they went through and used all of the like 1 foot, 2 foot slopes data that we now have from the Agency of Natural Resources. And then for the map, increased the distance between those points.
Yep.
So that it's sort of like a bigger pixel that we're looking at. That original map, the pixel area was teeny tiny. And to measure slope, you go measure the height difference between individual pixels. The pixels are now bigger at this resolution. So you still are really grabbing the true steep slopes in Montpelier. You know, the really sloped areas like here behind Elm Street, right? Up where it goes up behind land here. It still comes up as steep slopes, but you're not picking up the little tiny bit of someone's yard that's a banked up yard next to the road. right? Because it's a small distance, it's a small area that's sloped. You're not picking up those small areas of changes in slope where it's somebody just wants to insert a house into this little area, but it was going to come up as steep slopes. And so that layers in the engineering, it layers in coming to the board, it lengthens the process. So, you know, instead, those are now administrative approvals for a lot of those. They also made a few little tweaks in here so that if there's a really small area of slopes, like, you know, it still comes up. Yeah, it's 50 square feet. If it's still 30% slopes, but it's 50 square feet area or less, and it's not associated, you know, touching an actual building,
They're gonna get a pass.
they don't need to come. So if it's the ditching around the house, right, where there's a part where it's a 30% slope, but it's not actually under the house, we're not going to make them come to the board for an engineered
That was.
design
Yep.
for the ditch.
Right, that was one of the problems with the original
Yep.
rewrite of the zoning regs.
Yeah.
It didn't specify, you could have had, you know, 6 inches and it was.
Yep.
Kicked in the.
Yeah. So there's still going to be more discussion, I think, of this, because it also adjusted when a professional erosion control plan is required. And so that's going to need to probably be revisited. We'll have some Department of Public Works come in and talk to the Planning Commission a little bit, because we're already seeing some of those applications go through. But this was a really big change. And so the question is, how far is it going to go? Like, what are we going to see come in over the next year that maybe it needs to, you know, go back the other way a little bit? We'll see. But it will mean that really it's the bigger projects with bigger slope impacts that come to the board. So then another, which is actually a big change. So there's site plan review, right? And that's triggered for projects that involve either commercial, you know, non-residential development, or parcels that have more than 2 dwelling units on them. That's when site plan gets triggered. That's when landscaping needs to be reviewed. There's new criteria that get reviewed for a project. Major site plan are those projects that are big enough that they come to the development review board. Minor site plan was created in 2018 and is an administrative approval, so that some standards don't apply at all in minor site plan. We don't look at architectural design for like how it actually looks on the outside. We don't look at potential solar impacts for minor site plan. In July, they increased the scope of things that are minor site plan. So if it's residential development, so up to 6 dwelling units on a parcel no longer triggers major site plan to go to the board. Doesn't matter what size new building it is, doesn't matter what size addition. Anything up to and including 6 dwelling units is exempt from my major site plan. It still needs to go through all the minor site plan. They still need a landscaping plan, but they don't need one done by a particular type of landscaping professional. They still need a lighting plan. It does not need to be a certified lighting professional that does it. They aren't reviewed for architectural standards unless they're in design review. And I don't remember what other ones don't come into play, but so they've shifted that, and I already approved one new minor site plan that was 4 dwelling units. So that's going to be a big change. But the hope is that with that quicker turnaround on permits for those smaller scale housing, that we'll see more of those.
Question. Did I hear you say that 16 dwelling units were?
6.
6.
Yeah, up to 6. If it's 7 dwelling units on a parcel and they're building a new building or adding, you know, X number of parking spaces, it's going to trigger major site plan. But if it's 6 dwelling units or less, it's a review of me, versus it used to be all it needed was 3 dwelling units and a new building.
It's gonna shake.
Yep. That's that was the commission's hope, and city council
Really get
went along with it.
talking about it rather than having it struck.
Somebody has a hand up? I don't know, it didn't show. I just see a hand down below. I don't see it on anybody's thing. So that was that. They also, for subdivision, they eliminated sketch plan as a requirement. So it's optional. People who want to do subdivisions or planned unit developments can opt to come before the board for sketch plan review. They don't have to anymore. So that means, subdivisions that go to the board will only have to have one meeting, which means one set of public hearing notices to abutters. You know, I will see what that does to applications. And whether that means that the board is going to be more likely to say, we need more information because somebody raised an issue for the first time during final. So then the hearing gets continued. I don't know how that's going to work.
Sketch plan is one of the very, I think, one of the.
Wait, want to be near the microphone? Sorry, you're gonna have to scoot yourself a little.
Preliminary site review, I think, is something that we might want to consider. I mean, it has been a mechanism for really getting that information that you can't really get any other way.
Yeah, so that's, I mean,
Just
I could
got-
still recommend it to
Right,
people.
it's discussed in a non-confrontational way, and that really helps a lot.
Yeah.
I see if they're coming in with a fully functional plan with that, not at the site, not at the sketch plan level, but at the finished, ready to be approved.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that we can see what's going on, and the planning commission would love to hear from the board. So, especially when I will keep you posted on when different sections of the regs are being reviewed so that you can submit comments, thoughts, attend the meetings. That would be great because they do want to hear from you.
Yeah.
Hey, Catherine.
Yeah, that was a question I had earlier, Meredith. Yeah, I put my hand up and took it down, so maybe that's why you got the lurking hand. I
Yeah.
was curious what the process is for the review of the regs,
So I'll get there.
you'll get to that. Okay,
Yep, that's in there after I'm just trying to make sure everybody's aware of what changed.
okay. And I've got one other question too, just on this topic around the optional sketch plan. I mean, do you anticipate people will reach out to you to get your read on whether it's helpful to get a sketch plan? Like, you can walk through what the risks are and the benefits, et cetera.
I mean, that's my hope. I mean, I have to talk to every single subdivision applicant. The
Yeah.
requirement for a pre-application meeting with me is still in there. So, especially somebody who has something that is not fully formed yet, I'm going to be recommending it. Yes, it's a little bit more in fees, but I'm going to be recommending that they go through that process. But here's the other caveat to all of that. And I think I included in in the emails about this. But city council also approved administrative subdivisions. So non-controversial 3 parcels or fewer, that don't extend city infrastructure. So no extension of city roads or water or sewer, and don't need special waivers, exemptions. It all fits right within the regs. And there's no natural resources, Montpelier protected natural resources involved. Those can be approved administratively. I've actually already done one in the last few weeks. So that's going to cut down again on applications that are coming before the board. I mean, the hope is that there'll actually be more big things that need to come to you, but we don't know. So those are
subdivisions in certain neighborhoods are pretty big.
Yeah.
I mean, not every neighborhood, but some neighborhoods.
Yeah.
Some stuff has come before this board, which is likely to be 6-unit development. It's going to be pretty disruptive in a single family housing neighborhood.
Yep. So and for the minor subdivision, there are certain provisions that just don't apply now. They picked and chose among those as to which were things that were just black and white, where I could, yes, look at it, versus issues that really needed a panel to weigh in. So look through those red lines, take a look, anything that you're feeling may have been too far, Planning Commission would love to hear about it.
That's an interesting point that you raised, Alex, because I mean, I could think that the flip side of that is that 6-unit development is a way of kickstarting, getting some different levels of expense.
Very right, absolutely, and I'm firmly in support of that.
Yeah.
But I'm also mindful of the fact that there will be NIMBY lawsuits.
Well, yes, there will.
Sure, but I
There
think-
most certainly will. I mean,
And there are places that, I mean, near me, there's the Redstone property,
mhm.
right, which is so ripe for a multi-unit development.
Oh,
Will
yeah.
not happen, right? But that could easily have 12 units.
Is anybody in there these days?
No, nobody's in the
Just
building.
in?
And
Yep.
There you go.
and the current owner is a terrible steward to have.
Oh, yes.
But
The way that I see it is that, that we are still the first step for appeal.
Yeah.
The administrative decision comes here, and the difference in it coming here on appeal versus it just coming here as an open book where everything's open is that those concerned with issues, it's like it's a focused discussion. Like we can hammer in and really look at, what the issue is. I think prior to, versus what happens often in a lot of towns in here is that the real issues aren't even really brought up too much until after the fact, and everyone thinks it's it's all done, the engineering's been done, it's too late in the process. And so I guess I think
but
that
the 6 units will be exempt from coming before us.
For initial,
For-
right? But like you said, it may be that the board just sees a lot more appeals.
but yeah, and if a neighbor doesn't, there's issues. I don't think we see appeals as a as a big bad thing necessarily. It's a
no.
focused way to have the
And appeals are much better than lawsuits.
have the panel like really look at something and focus the discussion, and hopefully we can through our process come to some
Well, which is.
I mean, I would
Something.
prefer to not have things appealed because that means that people think I did something I wasn't
Right.
supposed to. But on the other hand, yeah, I think when people don't feel heard at the beginning of the process, they're probably more likely to appeal and come in after.
Well, if the people come in at the point of the final plan, they're gonna feel burned.
Yeah.
They're gonna say, well, how come I didn't hear anything about this?
Mhm.
I mean, the beauty of the preliminary site review is that it's done in a non-confrontational way. And you can deal with some pretty heavy duty issues at that level.
Yep.
Yeah, and in my short time on the board, some of them have disappeared altogether.
No,
Yeah.
I think planning commission and city council are trying to take a different tack and see if it spurs some things on, and we're gonna see what happens, but I think they would love to hear from you. So getting to that next steps.
Yep.
So planning commission has just started their sort of investigative review level of going through the entire zoning set. So I think they've only made it through the initial, like all the legal requirements and everything so far. I think their next meeting next week, is going to be starting in on zoning districts themselves. How many there are, because there's been just some discussion about do we still really need Res 6 and Res 9? How many different urban central districts do we need? Right now, there's 3 different ones. There's going to be a discussion on that because they got some comments at one point about that. They might not make any changes. They might make some. There have been some discussion about the actual dimensional standards in some of the districts, because when everything was rewritten in 2018, what they did is they revise the dimensional standards so that 80% or more of existing parcels would be compliant with those standards. So they looked sort of neighborhood by neighborhood and then combined areas to be like, okay, 80 to 85% of the houses in this area all meet whatever setbacks. So that'll be their setback. So they set these new dimensions to match what was there now, so that nothing new would be necessarily different than the largest, right, of the buildings in there. The largest or the parcels with the most coverage, stuff like that. And there was some discussion, you know, at both planning commission and city council of, okay, well, but if we're gonna have more people, right, have more dwelling units, should things be pushed a little bit, right? So we'll see. I haven't seen much in the way of any kind of development that needed waivers. You guys haven't seen many waivers for dimensional things. So, I don't know where that's gonna go. Again, they'd love to hear from you. But so those hearings, I mean, they're taking a meeting or 3 to get through each like almost chapter. So this is gonna take a while, and I'm gonna be at almost every one of those meetings. So I will keep you guys posted if you want. But you're also free to just zoom in because they're hybrid meetings. And then once you know, keep an eye on the agendas, if it's something you want to be part of, join in. The actual full adoption process for any red line changes that they come up with will require a minimum of one fully noticed public hearing at the planning commission and another at least minimum one at city council. Usually city council likes to do 2. But they are nowhere near at red line changes right now. Right now, it's really a high level investigative, invite committees in to discuss, committees or other players in to discuss specific sections, and refine their ideas of what sections they want to tackle in this next round. Because it may be too much to try and do everything. It's going to be coming up with sort of a punch list of priorities. And, you know, I know that, you know, we're gonna have to pull in Department of Public Works to talk about the erosion control and the stormwater sections and driveway spacing. That was one that I thought maybe the board could be like, we don't want to see driveway spacing. That can be administrative. Like, it's not gonna change the level of technical review for driveway spacing exemptions.
I have a question. Is the zoning regs as currently, are they really that inhibiting of development?
It really is more, I think they're trying to create some efficiencies for people. You know, the planning commission and city council have heard testimony from developers that it's inhibiting, right? And they're also trying to do, but they're also trying to do what they can because they know we're in a massive housing crisis. And if they can see places where they can continue to, they want to continue to have it be good projects that are approved, but also not necessarily subject people to things like you have to have a full engineered plan when your amount of slopes is really tiny, or you have to go bring another professional onto your team to do a landscaping plan. Like that's why they hit those high notes first, right? The hope is that the changes they made last month are enough to really make a difference for people, but they really want lots of input from as many people as possible over these next several months. Catherine?
Yeah. I mean, I'll just say I admire that they're looking at the results, right? Or I imagine they're looking at the results and seeing, yeah, over the last few years, there's clearly huge demand, there's housing crisis, and we haven't seen many units coming through. So, you know, like, I think it's great that they're taking a look here to see what's possible. It's kind of the abundance mindset, you know, it's like, look for the results and then try to modify policy accordingly. A question on the sessions are they promoting the sessions where they're walking through the different sections to developers or to other stakeholders that might give input?
I mean, I don't know. I don't staff the commission. I don't know how they're getting this information out. I mean, this is they just started that. And so they're definitely reaching out to city committees and city departments. Those are definitely the reach outs. I don't know what other kind of publishing, like
Well, they got a lot of
reaching out to the,
input and comments through the town planning process that they just
Yeah,
went through.
that was a
yeah,
lo-
it's like kind of been, not in this venue, but in a separate public venue talked about.
yeah. And that's, I mean, that's where a lot of this came out of, is a lot of the input that was received during that city plan process. They kept like taking notes of keep an eye on that. We developed a whole big chart of all of the comments that got sent to say, okay, how do we then, these things don't go in the city plan. They have to do with our regulations.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. Yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know if there's anything extra other than the standard posting of the agendas and getting those notices out that's been happening. I can make a note about that just to see what we could do that's not dipping into our public hearing coffers too much.
Yeah, one idea, which I recognize this is like a state level initiative versus unique to Montpelier, but I think the state is doing a lot right now around capacity building for small scale developers. It's like, I do think it would be great to see more of that type of development in Montpelier. And I think we've seen it, here and there over the last few years. So anyway, I don't know if anyone who's participating in that work might be able to give it like a different perspective on on the review of the regs. So
Yeah, I mean, if you have contacts of individual people, feel free to direct them my way and Mike's way, and to get the information on
yeah, I could maybe
because that would be great. Sorry, I had a thought while you were talking that went in and went right back out. Our new community and economic development specialist just started today.
congrats.
I'm not sure how much bandwidth he's gonna have for things outside of grants for a little while, because he showed up today and went to a meeting in Barry with Mike and has like 4 grant applications on his desk waiting for him to work on. But he is definitely, I think, gonna be a bit of a mover and a shaker. So
Good.
I think that will be really good. Give me 1 second. Because
While you're looking, so I'll just say to confirm then, so it sounds like if we have ideas around groups that could be productive participants in the process, we can just direct them to you and or
Yes.
Mike. So,
yes,
okay,
yes.
cool.
So hold on, I had some notes. So one of the things that we would love to hear from the board is where in the regs have you felt like maybe you don't get enough information to make decisions, or there's things that are coming to you like the driveway spacing that we're well aware of that you feel like really don't need a panel? Are there places where things are too vague that make it hard to then be able to apply the regulations and approve things? I know we had that sketch review of that cottage cluster PUD that I think was confusing enough for everybody to figure out how to apply some of those really specific standards. That's one reason that Isabel Circle came back and changed and wasn't doing a cottage cluster anymore. I mean, I think that was also financial, but I also think, not being able to get clarity from the board on what things meant was difficult for everybody involved during that sketch plan review. I remember that one being problematic.
I think, well, I don't know. I think they're headed in the right direction as far as like, getting rid of a lot of stuff that feels a little bit, maybe over the top for it to really need a, 7-person panel every single time. But I guess the one that sort of always surprised me is conditional use. And I would hate to say require more, but I just always feel it to be a bit complicated for dealing with one meeting. It's almost like just from sitting in the position of trying to run meetings on applications that sketch plan and then a meeting on conditional use, and then one meeting for a subdivision is maybe more like it should be, rather than I think because some conditional uses are are nothing at all. It's changing it from, I don't know, interior office space to like an art space. I don't know, like an example where there's no actual like physical changes happening in the building. But then there's conditional use where you're talking traffic studies, you're talking lots of like required technical information to digest, and to like it's like we're talking about something can be built that can have a really big impact on
Yeah.
what's around it. But I feel like yeah, it's our review is kind of has to be very limited just because of sort of the I don't know, the nature of how it is. And
Yeah.
and I think that there's less and less conditional use happening just because of the way the regs are permitting more and more stuff to happen in a permitted way, which is good. But I don't know. I think I fear that like that big project that conditional use is the only reason why it's before us, and we have one meeting to sort of like really be on our toes to make sure that we hit it out of the park. And yeah, those are the ones that kind of scare me the most.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, the board is never required to make a decision that same night if they don't feel like they have enough information,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
They can, or they need time to mull things over. The board can always, if there's a majority that agree, the board can say, hey, we're going to continue this because we feel like we need time to review the material longer and the new information that we got at the hearing.
Yeah.
That is always the board's option.
Sure.
Whereas though, if you go back to the informal review
Yeah.
initially, you're gonna hit a lot of that stuff off at the pass.
Yeah.
It's-
Yep. Yep. So, I mean,
It's
that's,
kind of the classic, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater.
yeah. Well, I mean, that's one reason that I mean, Mike and I were like, no, make it optional. Don't get rid of it. Like, you can't get rid of it. So the question is maybe, are you, do you push back and say, hey, if we're talking a planned unit development, that is going to be, I mean, any planned unit development is going to be way more complicated than a standard small subdivision, which is most of what the board has seen, except for really Isabel Circle, that sketch plan needs to be required, or sketch plan needs to be required if you're talking, more than 15 parcels, or if it's conditional use and major site plan, we actually want a sketch plan for that too, not just for subdivision. You can make those suggestions for those bigger ones. Maybe it wouldn't be sketch plan, maybe it would be considered preliminary review.
I guess, I don't know, maybe just making sure that we offer the informal review for any application, not just
Yeah.
subdivisions, just because I think I feel it would make it a lot easier for me to have someone come in after not doing an informal review with a complicated application that we have to ask for more information to say like, yeah, we're gonna have to like make you come back for another meeting and do this, versus if it's a one-stop shop, then it's kind of like, well, like I've only seen this like, for the past 7 days.
Yeah.
And now we're to review it. I don't know. Those are the ones where I just feel like get caught off guard, and if no one from the public shows up to comment, to like really draw attention to some things, that it can be difficult.
Yeah.
Because but so I don't think I have any solutions. It's just from my experience being on the board, those are the applications that I think maybe could have used a little bit more public input and conversation, but not all of them. So that's why I think in your position, that bit of discretion to sort of like bigger stuff that's got a serious question to like say like, yeah, the board really needs to answer this. I think that works out very well.
Yeah.
Is where we can use that sort of
Yeah.
informal review to make the recommendations.
Yeah,
to
well,
what-
I mean, we could do that. The thing is, it's also, that's relying very much on whoever is in the planning department, right?
Right.
And so if I think expressing those concerns that you have to the planning commission so that they can, and honestly, like hearing it directly from you.
Yep.
Would be good. So that they can hear those concerns, and just weigh them into the factoring of, if they're thinking about making these changes, to not wait till we're
Yeah.
have approved a bunch of stuff that didn't get enough input and the public is, kind of freaking out. Or it may be we have to be like, hey, it's been 18 months and all the board is seeing now is appeals, and they aren't necessarily appeals that mean that the board makes a different decision. It's just that these people didn't get a chance to be heard.
Sure.
And so that's when maybe there needs to be some other processes worked in. I personally will do, I've sent people before you without even doing sketch plan fees just to go in other business
Right.
to raise things for you. So we try.
Yeah. Sure.
But it's again, relying on the staff always catching it is going to be hard.
Oh yeah.
So yeah.
Right, and also what happens in the staff offices, and this is not a personal comment, it's not transparent.
Correct.
Right.
It's not.
And what happens at a public meeting is transparent, and that matters.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep. No, that's anything written is a public record, but somebody has to come and ask for it and ask for the right thing, and we have to be able to find
And
it.
know what it is that they're asking.
Yep.
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 So, so that's, it's hard. I 100% agree with you. On a quick little side note of transparency, we are working with the permitting system that we have had for years, and Nick Gothier, the planning and zoning assistant, is finding more and more things that we can do with that. So in addition to having now a place to file complaints through the planning department website, whether zoning or building, and you can even file them anonymously and then they just show up in our system. We're working on coming up with a automated report that will get generated once a week for people to be able to just click and see what permits were issued in the last week.
Yep.
We're working out some kinks, so it's not there yet, but keep an eye on the city manager's report if you get it. We're hoping to announce it there when it's live. And we're also looking into whether or not there's a way to do something similar for permits filed.
Yeah.
So applications filed, sorry, not permits, applications filed, so that would be a way for people to search before a public notice goes out, or if they missed it, to be able to see what's been filed. And that would mostly be catching, things that go to the design review or the development review board, because the other administrative permits often turn around within just a couple of days. But we're trying to make that more transparent, easier to access, because right now our posting location for permits issued is a clipboard in the hallway here in City Hall, and that's the only place that those are required to go by statute. And that's not really helpful for most people. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, hats off to you and Nick for working on that.
Well-
Because I think as things move towards maybe a little bit more administrative, it's just paramount that we sort of up our easy access and transparency on all these things. And I'm glad that that's happening.
and Nick's doing a lot. I think, I'm not sure it's live yet because there were some edits. He's also working on a FAQ for permitting. And Yeah, trying to improve the entire planning department website layers. So keep an eye on that as things go forward. We're hoping, trying to make things a little more user friendly, which is good. So, any other questions for me on?
Well, thanks for going through this.
Yeah,
This is
you're
useful.
welcome. I know it's a lot of talking. I'm sorry about that.
I think it's very helpful for us to have these meetings at least, once a year. I think it's good for us to be on the same page and open it up to wrap our heads around what's changing, not just the way things have been for the last however long. So
Yeah. Oh, and on that note, I don't think everybody has done the ethics training. I think I'm missing a few. I haven't gone through and done a chart. So if you don't remember doing the really boring, long video where you have to do quiz questions along the way for ethics.
You have to do
and
quiz questions?
you have to do quiz questions.
Because I answered questions, but I did not do the video.
I don't, I'll check. I think I got your certification. I'll have to go through and double check because I have to have gotten proof of your certification.
3 different browsers,
Oh.
and it didn't work until I used my phone. And I
Oh,
don't,
that's crazy.
having lived in the country for 35 years with no reception, I'm not a regular phone user. And
Yeah.
I've been on a computer since 1985, right?
Yeah.
But
Huh. Well, if you're having browser issues, let me know.
I contacted the ethics commission. That's how they said
Yeah.
try a
Yeah.
different browser.
if anyone that hasn't done it, I think really important that you do. We don't want to be caught in a situation in the middle of a meeting where someone has looked into such a thing and
Yeah,
then
well,
we don't have a quorum. So just this, I don't think it doesn't take that long.
Yeah, no, and you can
Especially
speed
if you
up.
just do the quiz.
Yeah, yeah.
You
So just
you sent me the
I
link.
sent it to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can speed up how quickly they talk. But yeah, I had everybody pretty much in our office had to do it, but it's required by the end of the month.
You can recirculate the link around. So.
Yep, I can recirculate it again. I need to do a tally to see whose certifications I got.
Would they send them to us as well or only to you?
You should have gotten the some sort of confirm at the end
I
that
have
you
been.
completed it.
Oh, I think on the screen.
No, I think
You should have
Should've
gotten an
gotten
email.
Oh,
It may have gone to your spam.
I checked my spam. Okay, so I may get caught out for not having watched the video.
I will double check because there should have been a place for you to put in where you can put in like somebody else's email address to have it sent to them as well. And so I've been getting automated updates from my committees for the people who do them. So I'll just double check.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Well, we do have one last thing, the minutes from 8/18 before we
Yeah, I
we'll
was
just slowly
at
wrap
that
this up.
meeting.
Move to approve.
Motion by
Seconded.
Alex, second by Joe. I think it was Joe, right?
Yes.
All those in favor of approving the minutes for August 18th as printed.
Aye.
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 All righty. Thank you all.
That's all we need.
Unanimous.
Thank you, Orca.
And then, yeah, next meeting will be Monday, September 15th. I'm guessing we do have applications.
We do. We've
Second on
got
the agenda.
2.
Okay, 2 applications.
Yep.
Yeah.
And those are actually on, if you go to the pending applications page that we use the link. Oh no, I didn't send you one. I put the links there. I will have to send you the link to the pending applications page, the updated one, because I did put the link that just the applications. So you can preview those a little early if you want.
So yeah, so folks, we got 6 of us, so we need 4 for a quorum. So,
And no disagreement to actually approve stuff.
yeah. So just let us know ahead of time as soon as you can if you can't make it. I understand things come up, but we're gonna truly have a Armageddon of unavailable people. It'd be nice to let everyone know prior to sitting here for 10 or 15 minutes. But yeah, just let us know if you have any issues.
Yeah.
And Meredith, you have anything else?
No.
All righty. I'll accept a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All righty. All those in favor say aye.
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 Aye.